My girlfriend said at 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve. I think we need space. I looked at the clock, said, perfect timing, quietly packed my life, walked out before midnight, and I smiled when she texted me at 12:07 begging to talk. Hey Reddit, I think we need space. The words hung in the air between us like a guillotine blade, suspended by the thinnest thread. I looked at her, then at the clock on the wall behind her head. 11:59 p.m. December 31st. Perfect timing, I said quietly. Her eyes widened. What? I stood up from the couch, my champagne glass still full on the coffee table. Through the window, I could hear our neighbors counting down somewhere in the distance. 58. 57. You heard me, I said, heading toward our bedroom. Perfect timing. I'm 30 years old. She's 28. We'd been together for 3 years, living together for the last 18 months in a nice apartment in downtown Portland. This was supposed to be our night, our first New Year's Eve in our new place, the one with the view of the city skyline where we'd planned to watch the fireworks together. Instead, I was pulling my suitcase out of the closet. Wait, what are you doing? Her voice cracked as she followed me into the bedroom. I just said we need space, not. And I'm giving it to you. I opened my dresser drawer and started pulling out clothes. 42. 41. How much space do you need? A city block? The whole state? I'll give you the entire apartment. Stop it. You're being dramatic. I paused, a stack of t-shirts in my hands, and turned to look at her. Really look at her. Rachel had this way of tilting her head when she wanted sympathy, her dark hair falling across her shoulder, her lips pressed together in that practiced pout. It used to work on me. 3 years of that expression, and I'd always caved. Not tonight. Dramatic? I folded the shirts and placed them in the suitcase. You drop, I think we need space on me at 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and I'm the one being dramatic? I didn't mean, I just thought we could talk about. About what? I moved to the bathroom, grabbing my toothbrush, my razor, my cologne. 31. 30. About how you've been distant for 2 months. About how you stopped saying, I love you back in November. About how you flinch when I try to hold your hand. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed. You're counting. Of course I'm counting. I walked past her, dumping my toiletries into a smaller bag. I've been counting everything, Rachel. Every time you check your phone and smile at something you won't share. Every time you say you're working late. Every time you tell me you're too tired, but then stay up for another hour scrolling through Instagram. 20. 19. This is insane, she said, but her voice had lost its conviction. Where are you even going to go? Does it matter? I grabbed my laptop from the desk, unplugged the charger. You want space. I'm giving you space. Seems pretty straightforward to me. But we should talk about this. Work through it. I stopped packing and looked at her. At 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve, you want to work through it now? She didn't answer. 10. 9. 8. I zipped up my suitcase and grabbed my winter coat from the closet. My keys were on the hook by the door. My wallet was in my pocket. Everything else could wait. I need you to understand something, I said, standing by the door with my suitcase. I've been understanding for months. I've been patient. I've been the guy who doesn't push, who doesn't ask too many questions, who pretends everything's fine when it's clearly not. 5. 4. 3. But you know what? I'm tired of being that guy. 2. 1. The fireworks started outside. The neighbors cheered. Rachel's phone buzzed on the coffee table, probably a dozen Happy New Year messages flooding in. Happy New Year, Rachel, I said, opening the door. I hope this space is everything you wanted. I walked out and closed the door behind me. The hallway was quiet except for the muffled sounds of celebration from other apartments. I stood there for a moment, suitcase in hand, waiting to feel something. Regret, maybe. Sadness. Anger. Instead, I felt light. I made it to my car before my phone started buzzing. I didn't look at it. I just drove. My buddy Kyle lived in a small house in southeast Portland with 2 roommates. He told me months ago that if I ever needed a place, their couch was available. At 12:15 a.m., I was knocking on his door with my suitcase and a bottle of cheap champagne I'd grabbed from a convenience store. "Dude," Cal said when he opened the door, his eyes bloodshot from whatever party they'd been having. "What happened? Can I crash here?" "Of course." He stepped aside, and I walked in. The living room was a mess of empty beer cans and half-eaten pizza, but the couch looked comfortable enough. But seriously, what? My phone buzzed again, and again, and again. Cal noticed. "Rachel." I pulled out my phone. 7 missed calls. 13 text messages. All from her. The most recent one, sent at 12:07 a.m. Read, "Please come back. We need to talk." I didn't mean it like that. "I'm sorry." I showed Cal the phone. He let out a low whistle. "She said she needed space." I explained, setting my suitcase down. At 11:59 p.m. Brutal timing. That's what I said. I opened the champagne bottle and took a drink straight from it. So I gave her space. Cal sat down on the arm of the couch, watching me. And now she's panicking because she didn't think I'd actually leave. I scrolled through the messages. They progressed from confused to worried to desperate. She wanted a reaction. She wanted me to fight for her, to beg her not to do this, to promise I'd change. "Are you going to respond?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I said finally. "Not tonight." Cal nodded slowly. "Want to tell me what's been going on?" So I did. It started in October. Small things at first. Rachel had always been affectionate, touching my arm when we talked, kissing me goodbye in the morning, texting me random thoughts throughout the day. But in October, all of that started to fade. I noticed it first when she stopped reaching for my hand during our evening walks. We'd always held hands. It was our thing. But one night, maybe 3 days after Halloween, I reached for her hand and she pretended not to notice, shoving both her hands into her jacket pockets. "Cold?" I'd asked. "Yeah, freezing." It was 55 degrees. Then came the late nights at work. Rachel was a marketing coordinator for a tech startup. She'd always had reasonable hours, home by 6 most days. But suddenly, she was staying until 8, 9, sometimes 10 o'clock. When I asked about it, she'd give vague answers about a big project, a difficult client, an important deadline. "Do you want me to bring you dinner?" I'd offer. "No, I'll grab something here." "Want to talk about your day?" "Not really. I'm exhausted." But she wasn't too exhausted to scroll through her phone for hours after getting home, her face illuminated by the blue light, a small smile playing on her lips. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I need to be honest. One night in early November, while she was in the shower, I looked at her phone. I know what that says about me, about us, about where we were. But I had to know. There were no smoking guns. No explicit messages from another guy. No dating apps, no secret plans. But there was a name that kept appearing in her texts. Trevor. A coworker, apparently. Their messages were just professional enough to be innocent, just friendly enough to be concerning. "Great presentation today. Thanks. Couldn't have done it without your help. Coffee tomorrow morning. See you at 7 a.m. coffee meetings. With Trevor." I put the phone back and never mentioned it. Maybe I should have. Maybe that was my mistake, choosing silence over confrontation, observation over communication. But I'd been in enough relationships to know that once you start policing someone's friendships, you've already lost. So I waited, and watched, and counted all the little ways she was pulling away. By December, she'd stopped saying, "I love you." She'd say "you too" when I said it first, but she never initiated it anymore. When I tried to plan things, a weekend trip, a nice dinner, a movie night, she'd agree, but without enthusiasm, like she was just going through the motions. Our physical relationship had become perfunctory. Once every 2 weeks, maybe, and only when I initiated. She'd participate, but distantly, like her mind was somewhere else. I knew what was happening. I'd seen it before in previous relationships. This was the slow fade, the gentle letting go. She was preparing to leave, but didn't have the courage to do it cleanly. So she was making herself smaller and smaller in our relationship, hoping I'd get the hint and end things myself. But I didn't. Not because I was oblivious. I saw it all clearly. I just wanted to see how long she'd keep it up, how long she'd let this thing drag on, making us both miserable, because she was too cowardly to have an honest conversation. The answer, apparently, was 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve. "That's cold," Qley said when I finished talking. He'd been listening quietly, occasionally offering me more champagne. "The timing is ice cold, right?" I took another drink. "Like, if you're going to break up with someone, maybe don't do it 1 minute before midnight on New Year's Eve. Maybe don't do it when you've planned this whole romantic evening. Maybe don't do it after 3 years together." My phone buzzed again. Another message from Rachel. "I can't believe you just left. That's not like you." Qley read it over my shoulder. "She's got a point. You're usually more patient." "Patient," I repeated. "Yeah, I've been patient. I've been patient while she checked out of our relationship. I've been patient while she had her little emotional affair with Trevor from work. I've been patient while she figured out whether she wanted to stay or go." Emotional affair? What else would you call it? I set the bottle down harder than I meant to. All those coffee meetings, all those late nights working, all those little smiles at her phone. She's been investing in someone else while keeping me around as backup. Qley was quiet for a moment. "Did you ever actually ask her about Trevor?" "No." "Why not?" "Because what would I say? Hey, I looked through your phone and I'm uncomfortable with your coworker? That makes me the bad guy. That makes me the jealous, controlling boyfriend who doesn't trust her." "But you don't trust her." "Not anymore," I admitted. But I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of making me look crazy. If she wanted out, she needed to say it. She needed to own it. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. I declined it. "She's going to keep calling," Qley said. "Probably." "You going to talk to her eventually?" "Yeah," I said. "But not tonight. Not when she's panicking. Not when she's scrambling to fix something because it didn't go according to her plan." Qley raised an eyebrow. "You think she had a plan?" "Of course she had a plan. I think we need space is code for, I want to break up, but I want you to think it's mutual." She probably expected me to argue, to get emotional, to beg her to reconsider. Then she could paint me as the difficult one, the one who couldn't handle an adult conversation. She could tell Trevor and all her friends how I lost it when she tried to have a mature discussion about our relationship. "But you didn't lose it." "No," I said, smiling for the first time that night. I called her bluff. I fell asleep on Kyle's couch around 3 in the morning. When I woke up at 10 a.m., my phone was dead, which was probably for the best. I plugged it in and left it charging while I took a shower and tried to figure out what to do with my new year. The apartment, our apartment, was in both our names. We'd signed the lease together in August. I'd paid my half of January's rent already, so legally, I had every right to be there. But I didn't want to be there. Not anymore. When I finally turned my phone back on, I had 42 new messages and 19 missed calls. Most were from Rachel, but a few were from mutual friends, probably checking in after she'd called them in a panic. I ignored all of them and called my brother instead. "Happy New Year," he answered, sounding way too cheerful. "Yeah, you too. Listen, I need some advice." I gave him the abbreviated version of the story. My brother, David, was 5 years older than me and had been through 2 divorces. If anyone understood relationship implosions, it was him. "So let me get this straight," he said when I finished. "She drops this bomb on you at midnight. You actually leave, and now she's freaking out?" "Pretty much." "Good. Good. Yeah, good. You called her bluff. Most guys would have stayed and had some big emotional blowout. You left with dignity. That's the right move." "It doesn't feel like the right move," I admitted. "It feels like I ran away." "No, running away is what she was doing. You just stopped chasing her." He paused. "Listen, here's what's going to happen. She's going to blow up your phone for a few days. She's going to tell you she made a mistake, that she overreacted, that she wants to work things out. Do not believe her." "Why not?" "Because she doesn't want you back. She wants to not be the bad guy. She wants to control the narrative. She dropped, "I need space," expecting you to fight for her, and when you didn't, it disrupted her whole script. Now she's scrambling. That made sense. It made too much sense. So what do? You stay gone. You get your stuff from the apartment when she's not there. You let her sit with the consequences of her choices. And you absolutely do not let her manipulate you into being the bad guy. And if she really does want to work things out, David laughed. Then she should have thought about that before she played stupid games at 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve. I spent New Year's Day at Kyle's house, helping clean up from their party and trying not to think about Rachel. It didn't work. Everything reminded me of her. The pizza, we'd ordered pizza every Sunday. The beer, she always preferred IPAs. The football game on TV, she'd gotten really into the Seahawks last season. Around 4 in the afternoon, my phone rang. Not Rachel this time. One of our mutual friends, Danielle. I answered. "Hey, what the hell happened?" Danielle demanded. "Rachel called me crying this morning. She said you walked out on her." "Is that what she said?" "She said you had a fight, and you just left without even trying to work things out." I took a deep breath. "Danielle, did she tell you what she said to me right before I left?" "She said you two were talking about your relationship, and you got upset and stormed out." "That's not what happened." I told her the truth. All of it. The "I need space" comment, the timing, my calm response, the way I'd simply taken her at her word and given her exactly what she asked for. Danielle was quiet for a long moment. She told me you freaked out. I didn't freak out. I packed a bag and left. At midnight. She made her announcement at 11:59. I was just working efficiently. Danielle sighed. "Okay, that's actually kind of badass." "Is it?" "Yeah. I mean, she basically tried to manipulate you into begging her to stay, and instead you just left. That's cold, but I get it." "I didn't want to be the guy who fights for someone who doesn't want to be fought for," I said. "That's fair." She paused. "For what it's worth, she's a mess right now. I've never seen her like this." "Good," I said, and I meant it. The text from Rachel changed over the next few days. At first, they were panicked and apologetic. Then they became angry. Then desperate again. Then, finally, manipulative. Day 1. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Please come home so we can talk." Day 2. "I can't believe you're ignoring me. This is so cruel. I thought you loved me." Day 3. "Fine. If you want to throw away 3 years over nothing, that's on you." Day 4. "I saw a therapist today. She said we should do couples counseling. I made an appointment for next week." That last one almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered what my brother said. This wasn't about fixing our relationship. This was about controlling the narrative. She couldn't handle being the one who got left. She needed me to come back so she could end things on her terms, or so she could keep me around while she figured out her situation with Trevor, or so she could have the moral high ground. I wasn't giving her any of that. On day 5, January 5th, I went back to the apartment. I called her first to make sure she wouldn't be there. She was at work, or so she said. The apartment looked exactly the same, but somehow different. Like I was visiting a museum of my old life. There was the couch, where we'd watched hundreds of movies. There was the kitchen where I'd made her breakfast every Sunday. There was the bedroom where we'd talked about our future. All of it felt distant now, like it belonged to someone else. I packed the rest of my things systematically. Clothes, books, my gaming console, my photos, though I left the ones with both of us in them. She could decide what to do with those. I was loading the last box into my car when my phone rang. Rachel. This time, I answered. "Hey, you're at the apartment." It wasn't a question. "Yeah, getting the rest of my stuff." Without telling me. "I did tell you. I texted you this morning." I meant without giving me a chance to be there. "To see you." I closed the trunk of my car. "Rachel, what do you want?" "I want to fix this. I want us to talk." "Okay, talk. Not on the phone. In person. I'm standing in front of our building right now. You want to talk in person? Come home from work." Silence. "You're not at work, are you?" I asked. More silence. "Where are you, Rachel?" "It doesn't matter." "It does matter. Because if you're going to ask me to come talk to you in person, I need to know you're actually available to talk. I'm at Trevor's apartment. There it was. The truth, finally. How long? I asked. What? How long have you been going to Trevor's apartment? It's not like that. We're just friends. I needed someone to talk to after you left. Rachel, I've known about Trevor since November. I knew about the coffee meetings, the late nights, all of it. Then why didn't you say anything? Because I wanted you to be honest with me. I wanted you to respect me enough to tell me the truth instead of playing these games. She started crying. I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't cheat on you. I swear I didn't. Maybe not physically, I said. But you've been emotionally checked out of our relationship for months. You've been investing in him while disinvesting in us. And then, when you finally worked up the courage to end things, you try to make it look like a mutual decision. Like it was something we both wanted. I do love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of not being alone. You love having a safety net. But you don't love me. Not anymore. She was really sobbing now. What do we do? You wanted space, Rachel. I'm giving you space. All the space in the world. But the apartment. I'll pay my half through the end of the lease. After that, it's yours. I'll send you my forwarding address for any mail. That's it. 3 years, and you're just done. I looked up at our apartment building, at the window of what used to be our home. You were done months ago, I said quietly. I'm just catching up. I hung up before she could respond. It's been 3 weeks now. I'm still crashing at Kyle's place, looking for my own apartment. The sublet I found starts February 1st, a studio in Northwest Portland, small but mine. Rachel has stopped texting. I saw on social media that she and Trevor are officially together now. One of our mutual friends sent me a screenshot of them at a coffee shop, holding hands. The photo was dated January 8th, 3 days after our phone call. 3 days. I should feel something about that. Anger, maybe. Betrayal. Heartbreak. But mostly I just feel relieved. Because here's what I've realized. I wasn't in love with Rachel anymore either. I was in love with the idea of us, with the relationship we used to have before Trevor, before the distance, before everything fell apart. I was holding on to something that had already ended. The difference is, I would have had the decency to end it honestly. I would have sat her down and said, "This isn't working. We're not happy. We should move on." I wouldn't have played games. I wouldn't have tried to manipulate her into being the bad guy. But she couldn't do that. She needed to test me first, to see if I'd fight for her, to set up a scenario where she could either have her cake and eat it too, or walk away without taking responsibility. So I took that power away from her. I called her bluff at 11:59 p.m. and walked out before midnight. I gave her exactly what she asked for, in the most literal way possible. And when she texted me at 12:07, panicking, begging to talk, I smiled. Because for the first time in months, I wasn't the one waiting around, hoping things would get better. I wasn't the one making excuses, ignoring red flags, pretending everything was fine. I was free. My brother called me yesterday to check in. "How are you holding up?" Honestly, better than I expected. No regrets. I thought about it. No. The only thing I regret is not leaving sooner. Good man. You did the right thing. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But it was my thing, on my terms, and that makes all the difference. Kyle knocked on the door frame. "Hey, some of us are going out tonight. You in?" I looked at my phone. No new messages from Rachel. Just a clean slate and a new year ahead of me. "Yeah," I said, standing up. "I'm in." And I was.